talking about how Athena sprang out of Zeus's mind as an idea because the god of blacksmithing hit him on the head because he had a headache. And then I wanted to show you guys a drawing of how it looked on the site by Jacques Carré, still in 1674, which was these were important drawings because they helped them understand the layout. And this was already after the central pieces had been destroyed, so it kind of, it shows the destruction. This is part of the Elgin marbles we talked about. Lord Elgin being the British ambassador who took the marbles from Athens. He purchased them and took them to the British Museum. And the controversy is that obviously Athens, the Greeks, want them back because it's part of their cultural heritage, but the British Museum owns them. Originally, in this, Zeus and the Nike would be in the middle, crowning Athena with the victory laurel because of the myth. And it has not very much of it left, but you see Apollo's horse and Apollo's sun is rising, Dionysus / Heracles, Demeter and Persephone, Iris or Hebe. It's kind of really hard to say who's who because people are missing a lot of their heads and details, but we could get some idea of how much detail there was in these sculptures in the round that would have sat up on top of in the pediment, the triangular area at the top of the building. So this is like a horse head that's left on the other side for Athena's birth. A lot of detail on these things considering they're way up in the air. Being, seen from down below, they're up in the triangular roof area. And it's got all that stuff we've been talking about with the idealism, beauty, anthropomorphized gods and goddesses, all the stuff we've been talking about, the symbolism of victory with the laurels. It's all happening in these sculptures. So this is a view of the inside area, the celia, where the statue would have been of the goddess. The holy place in the ancient Greek temple, which wasn't really gone into. The religious idol would have been there. It would have been made of ivory and gold leaf over a wooden core. And it was larger than life, kind of showing you the backside of it. 40 feet tall on a rectangular pedestal. So a tower over a reflection pool originally. It would have been a reflecting pool that would tower over. Really, really giant. And she wears the helmet and the Aegeus and the spear and shield are there. She's Athena the warrior. She holds in her hand over here, she would have held a little victory symbol, the Nike, the winged goddess. This represents their idea of very much their belief in the good wars, that they had to spread their civilization to the barbarians and that they were the preeminent people. This is where it would have been located in the celia right there, looking outward. And this is a replication of it. So this is probably what it would have been like. Victory in hand, weaponry representing that there, the preeminent culture. Classical Greece, all the things we've talked about, a different version of it here. So I want to look at, again, another frieze that's on the inside realm of the peristyle, not the outside. We've been looking at these pediments here, and we looked at what would have probably been in the celia. Now I want to look at the inside area in here, in between this temple area and the outside colonnade, the peristyle. There would have been a frieze here. This is also in the British Museum. Same purchasing. An unbroken long line of sculpture on all four outside walls of the celia, carved in marble, a relief, not high relief, but relief sculpture. And it has a procession of Athenians led by young men on horseback coming out to worship Athena. So there's probably actual festival that they had that happened every 4 years, maybe part of the Olympics competition, etc. But actual festival happened every year on the occasion of Athena's birth, maybe, or maybe every 4 years as part of the Olympic competition, but most likely every year on her birth. Would have been painted as all of the sculptures would have been, not this white that has become the idea of classical sculpture because of wear and time. People have used that, but it would have probably been painted like this. Showing some of the detail in the sculpture. It's a really long sculpture, and there's just so much detail in every part of it. Showing the idealized people, they're wearing clothing, detail in the horses. So this is a pretty remarkable building, really, when you think about all the detail in it. And it is definitely the basis of a lot of other Western architecture has been, influenced by this, I should say. They have a replica of this in Nashville in their Centennial Park. It's a centerpiece of their Centennial Park in Nashville, Tennessee. They even have a recreation of the statue, but the inside and all the detail, the triglyphs, the metopes, the sculptures inside of the roof area. It's pretty amazing. Full scale replica of it. It was built for the 1897 Centennial Exposition, and it serves as a monument to what is considered the pinnacle of classical architecture. The plaster replicas of the Parthenon marbles found in are direct casts of the original sculptures on the pediments in the British Museum. It's Nashville's art museum. It has 63 paintings by 19th and 20th century Americans in gallery spaces to provide a venue for shows and exhibits. And it has a replica of what they think that Athena would have been like. I'm going over that quickly, but the point is, why did they do this? Because they're trying to relate themselves to classical Greece and democracy, right? As a birthplace of democracy, there's this kind of homage to it, and there's also something spectacle for this giant centennial, 1897 centennial exposition. You can see in even all of our architecture, Supreme Court. This is the U.S. Supreme Court. It's white because that's what kind of the aesthetic has been thought to be. But we see this exact same type of homages happening. Sculpture up here, the type of colonnades. They use a lot of Corinthian columns like the Romans did. So it's referencing Rome and Greece. But it's because, as a culture, we're trying to represent ourselves as an extension. The obvious influence of Rome and Greece on this is called Neoclassical Architecture. Began in 1793 by Thomas Jefferson, and it began in the middle of the 1700s as an architectural idea because ideas of democracy, its birthplace, of Greece and Rome, attached to now. So we're saying we are the new Greece, the new Rome. Like the temples of the ancient times, and the other piece of architecture, this is hearkening to it, and it's very strong in American symbolism with the different things. Eagles were in Rome, all the different pieces of we'll say like a lot of governmental buildings are like this, especially the older ones, because this is very much an ideal. Classically educated founders, framers of the Constitution wanted to be connected to this, and it was not an accidental thing. Okay, so just want to make that as an interesting tie-in to our own culture. Theater of Epidaurus, 350 BC. The architect is Polycletus the Younger, we know. It was made out of stone architecture. It's functional to be a theater. Outdoors, it's an amphitheater in the outdoors. Because for them, theater was religious. Dionysus was the god of theater, and there was a connection between the outdoors and place. And then this is taking it further to where it becomes a big venue, but it was meant to be connected to that. This is famous for its acoustics. Acoustics is a science of how sound travels, and apparently all 15,000 people, this can hold 15,000 people, could even hear a pin drop on the stage because it has such good acoustics. Kind of looking down into this natural inverted cone that was the theater. The stage would have contained an altar to Dionysus originally, because theater grew out of rituals to him as the wine god, god of theater and wine. Early theaters were hollow spaces outside, and like I said, they used the landscape to create drama, and it would have been wooden seating originally. But this landscape's very important for them as part of their religious sort of rituals. This is considered to be the best preserved of ancient theaters, um, and that continuation of being surrounded by that landscape it was part of. You could see the stage is in a circle, so you could see it from far around. Nothing behind because they want that landscape there. It's gone through a lot of wear, but nonetheless it's there. So you say architect, well, it's kind of simple in design in the sense of decorations, but it's really important in the design of acoustics, and it has some decoration as well, going up in rows. It's still used today, and because of its acoustics, it's really great venue people love to go to. So that takes us through ancient Greece. We're going to be done with that now. So you want to start studying for your tests, chapter 6 and 7, and part of your homework class time is going to be to use the slide lists I gave you already to research those words and find them in the book. Of course, you should be reading chapter 6 and 7. That's part of your time in class, so to speak, now that we're online as well. To read those chapters, look over the study guides I gave you, the slide list and vocab, and find those words and be able to define them in the book, so that you can be prepared for the exam that's coming up. Alright guys, and then make sure you watch those documentaries and the other videos I'm posting. I'm not doing it just for the sake of it. It's because it has good information to help you understand the whole thing and to give you context for the chapter. After this, we're going to be heading into chapter 8, which is, and then 9, so Etruscans and Rome. So we'll continue on with the process. I hope you're all staying well out there and, practicing social distancing, good hand washing, all that crazy, all that important stuff because we're living in a crazy time. All right, take care.